Welcome to Activations with JJ Ascension message. Today we are going to talk about the question, are we on the new earth or aren't we? Hello, my dear soul family. I'm so excited to have you here with me for another episode. This one's going to be kind of fun because it's something I've been thinking about for a really long time. And I feel like I kind of want to address it here. Sometimes I feel like I'm not that much of an expert and I don't want to just go spout off a bunch of ideas without being able to back them up. But then again, I end up just channeling a lot of things and I feel like that can back me up a little. But the idea of whether or not we are on a new earth has been on my mind because, as you know, for those of you who listen to lots of other channelers and or intuitives, everybody has their own opinion. And so then you sit there and go, well, wait a minute, which person's right and which one's wrong? And so I just want to address that, talk about my thoughts. They are not definitive, and you by no means are required to prescribe to what I believe in or what I think. But I thought it would be fun for you to just hear from me as I bounce some ideas off of you. I'd also love to get your feedback. So when you're done listening, you're welcome to send me an email or leave a message in the comment section if you're listening on YouTube. This is how we co-create. All right, speaking of co-creating, there are a couple more fun events coming up. We are on the heels of just finishing our Galactic Federation gathering for the month of February. It was incredible. There are 12 spots in that. They all filled up. And if you want to join us next month, if that really resonates with you, because I'm going to tell you something. When I talk about the Galactic Federation, it really gets people excited. So if you're one of those people and you feel like really drawn to work with the Galactic Federation, I promise you won't be disappointed if you come to a soul family gathering. It's also not like super intense in that you're going to have to just talk a lot or be in front or have your video on. You don't have to do any of that. You can listen in, but there's something about creating in real time other than just listening to me, like on a podcast episode. There's something about you being right there when I'm channeling live that you cannot duplicate. So that one is going to be coming up the second weekend in March. So you can sign up now. I promise you won't regret it because those fill up really fast. But otherwise, we have on February 20th, we have our fairies and elementals gathering. So if you're drawn to work with the fairies and elementals, those are always just so incredible. I have my wonderful friend Tiffany Feedy of Embodied Soul Goddess who joins me to help moderate those. She is very connected channeler. She's very connected to Gaia. She's very connected to dragons. She is obviously a channel. She is a light language speaker, all of those things. And we have a lot of fun in that group. And then secondly, I want to really quickly remind you that on 2/22/22, I do have a few spots open in my mini sessions. For those of you who have heard me talking about these and are not quite sure what it means, it's a 30-minute guided meditation where Spirit has kind of told me, like, look, a lot of people are going through ascension symptoms, and it's really important to help them calibrate their energy and integrate. And so those are the two focuses. If those are synchronicities for you, if you've been feeling drawn to do something like that, I recommend you hop on the calendar and get a session booked because there are only some, spots left. There are only a few spots left. And I want to be able to help as many people as I can who feel drawn to it. I have two more quick announcements and then we'll head into our message for today. One of them is I still have spots open for mentorship. I'm only going to mentor a certain amount of people at one given point in time, but I have 2 spots left for that. And if you feel drawn to learn how to do what I do in a way, or at least some of the tools that I have, I would be honored to walk you through the process. It's a 4 to 6 week process that I cater and individualize to you. And so really, I can't tell you exactly what it entails until you meet with me. You can book a session. It's a consultation, and you can just use the link below to find out what it is, to find out if this is something that you want to do. So if you feel drawn to do that, make sure you book your session right away before those 2 spots fill up. Lastly, I'm looking for people who are very connected to the angelic realms. I'm trying to start to gather people. I'm considering doing some soul family gatherings in some different events where I work more closely with the angelic realm. So if you are drawn to angels, because as you know, it feels like I lean more to galactics, but I am very connected to angels and I feel a need to start working with them more. So if you're one of those people and you're like, that's me, just send me an email. You can send me an email at Activations with JJ. You can DM me on Instagram, or you can just comment on this video and I can send you information through the chat or through the comment section of the YouTube video. So that's my last announcement. I'm ready to head into the message. Are we on the new earth or aren't we on the new earth? The other day in one of my episodes, I was telling you guys that I happened to be listening to some different channels. And I honestly live kind of in a bubble where I don't listen to too many other channelers. I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like I have a lot of energy going on. And when I tap into some of those, it doesn't always feel like it's serving me to kind of get my energy spread a little bit too thin as I start to co-create with them. So I really try to focus on what I'm doing. That being said, I don't want to live in an echo chamber though. And so I feel like it's good for me to connect outside sometimes so that I can assess and analyze what they're saying and see how it correlates with what I do and what I say and what I'm bringing through from my guides. So the other day I was listening to somebody and their philosophy about the new earth and the way that they saw everything playing out here in the next little while was quite a bit different than mine. Now, it did relate to how I used to think all of it would play out. The way that I saw the new earth coming along, I actually have quite a religious background, and so all of the Armageddon stuff, a lot of that really resonated with me. There is the idea of the rapture with the 144,000. And those of you who listen to other spiritual intuitives know that just because they're not part of an organized religion doesn't mean that they don't see some truth in some of that. Because even the mystics and the people who weren't sold on the dogma did incorporate some of those ideas about the new earth into their beliefs. And so you can find it everywhere. You can find those ideas all over the place. There are some people who believe in the grand solar flash that's coming, where I feel like a lot of them talk about the fact it's kind of like the rapture, where people who are higher density and ready to go on the new earth will head there. So for me, I'm kind of more down to earth about it. I'm less about feeling into extreme events happening, and I'm more about tapping into the subtle energies that are telling me where we are, what we're doing, what our experience is. The bottom line, and the first thing that I want to tell you is this. At my very core, I believe that we create our own reality. It's almost as if we're living in a simulation and this experience is what we've created. Now, people will say, okay, but does this stuff exist outside you? You could go there with it. You could, because it's kind of a collective co-creation, right? But in the end, I really do believe our perception is number one and most important as we approach the concepts of the new earth and what they are. That being said, the more people who prescribe to what we prescribe to, the stronger the draw or the pull or the ability to create or to co-create that. So those kinds of things, as way showers, we're planting seeds a lot. Not the entire collective is sold on it, right? They're not all on board with what we think and what we believe. But as we continue to disseminate information about what we have in front of us for our future with the new earth, what it's going to be like and what it's going to look like, then I think more and more people begin to tap into that. This is related to my Ascension School message last week. If you've listened to my Ascension School series, I talked about group soul complexes and soul families. And in that, I talk about the fact that we are stepping into a time when we are going to transition from the concept of conformity and individuality into a time of unity, consciousness. And I know that term is very familiar to most of you, and that it's the idea of the new earth being built on this ability to telepathically and energetically connect with groups to carry out large feats. It reminds me of the way that a lot of people have, done past life regressions or channeled information about how the big monolithic statues were moved or how the pyramids were built. And a lot of people say that they saw it happen telepathically, like a group of people would get together, create a vibration, and they would move those big stones. That's just a little tiny example of what's possible when we open our minds to it. So I feel like it's important to paint that picture for you and to help you understand that. That being said, we're still 1 foot in, 1 foot out, kind of. I mean, I'm still doing 3D stuff, and I feel like most of you who are listening to this are a bridge between the old earth and the new earth in a way shower, like I said. And so how do we navigate this? Where do we keep our sights? How do we still have hope about the new earth when we can sort of still dip into that 3D and see the news and see the things that are going on? So I kind of tried to justify that because I have felt for a very long time, since the 2017 solar eclipse, I have felt that we have stepped onto the new earth, or the new earth has been born. Now, that's a very linear concept, and it's very cut and dry to put it that way. I think it's a lot more messy than that and a lot more nuanced than that. Our quote unquote transition to the new earth, and also just what Gaia has been doing. I saw in a channeled vision Gaia, the old Gaia, leave and the new Gaia be born, and that we were on the new Gaia. I felt that I was on the new Gaia. I mean, I guess everybody could be anywhere they wanted to be, or on any version of Gaia that they wanted to be on. So then in my mind, I'm trying to reconcile that with what I see around me. Okay. And so I'm trying to say, well, but I don't see what I think I see in vision when I see the new Gaia. I don't see it. Plus, what have tons of people channeled? They've channeled like the visions of what it looks like, and it's not what I see all the time. There are times when I do feel like I tap into it and I can literally see it with my physical eyes. Most of the time it's when I'm in nature. I can feel nature talking to me, and I can feel nature saying it's already in the vibration of the new Gaia. So that's kind of a little tip. I feel like the lifting of the veil, there's a lifting of the veil. There's still a veil that's concealing the new Gaia. And I think one of the reasons for that, I've kind of channeled this from my higher self, is that people would be very shocked if they were to have the veil pulled off their eyes super quickly, that their physical bodies wouldn't be able to handle that even their conscious mind wouldn't be able to handle that. And so they're very gently removing the veil in bits and pieces. And in fact, as I'm saying this to you, I can see it being removed here and there, in different places on the planet where you go there. Sometimes when you go to places, and you guys know this, you feel like you're in a different realm. I think it's because the veil is removed. So you may feel drawn to travel places where the new earth is feeling more obvious. And you may step into that and feel it and be like, oh, this is it. This is it. You may not consciously even know that though, but you could feel it. You could feel it. So that's just kind of my opinion about whether or not we're on the new earth. And I realize as I do this message that my normal time format for these Ascension messages is probably not long enough to talk about every opinion I have about the new earth, but that is it in a nutshell. Be on the lookout for future messages about what the new earth is and my feelings on it, because like I said, this is not enough time for me to tell you everything, but I am so, so grateful to you for coming just to listen to this, to co-create with me, and I'm sending you so much love. Until our next time, I just want to let you know that I honor the divine being that you are.